This is my review of Hercules, and this came out in 1997. It's my favorite Disney movie of all time. The reason why I really like this movie a lot was because when I was younger, I'd go to the library, and I'd go check out books like for unsolved mysteries, Greek mythologies, and monsters. All those things spoke to me, so then once I saw, oh, there's a movie about Hercules, I was like, oh, this is so cool. So I really wanted to watch it, and I love it. And it also has one of my favorite songs from the entire Disney series, but I'll get more onto that later. So the movie starts out when you see like all these vases and all these like statues of like old warriors and stuff. I noticed, so the vase contrasts a lot to the other heroes that they were saying, because like as it comes into that shot, you see how all the vases are blue and the statues are blue too, and then you see the vase and it's orange. So that's also something that's really big in this movie, like the contrasting. Like I noticed that blue signifies kind of like more like malevolence, like evil kind of thing, whereas orange was like altruistic, like, you know, heroic, like good. So like blue and orange. So like if you're a Broncos fan, you'll like it. Well, anyways, after like the foreboding tone of the narrator, then it comes up to a part where it's more cheerful, because then the music's coming, boom, and they're awesome, and you know, they sing a lot. It wouldn't be the same without the muses. This movie without the muses would be kind of like devoid of life, because it adds that little flavor, that little extra. And they could play a big part in the exposition, because a lot of the exposition in this movie is told through song by the muses. So basically Zeus thunderbolts the Titans down, and then they go into this Greek sewer and they hang out with the Pennywise and the Ninja Turtles, and then they get covered by thunderbolts and then by the ocean. So yeah, that sets up the movie there. You get in big Greek letters, boom, Hercules, and like, oh, alright. It introduces Greek gods, and you see this big epic shot of Mount Olympus, and then it goes into past the pearly gates. You see this, basically this cocktail party of the god Hercules' birth. And Zeus, by the way, kind of looks like Jeff Bridges. Then it shows, you know, how strong Hercules is, because he picks up his dad. Like, he literally picks him up by the freaking finger, and he's like, oh, look how strong you are. Which also, by the way, Zeus has some incredible ab strength, because, you know, a person being picked up, you think they would sag, you know, or something, but like Zeus is straight like a freaking stiff as a board, just like yeah. And you see Hermes, who looks like this jazz drummer or something with these glasses, talking all slick, and he makes a crack about Orpheus. And then basically it's funny because Orpheus is the guy who went into Hades to get his dead wife. He made a deal with Hades, and he's like, oh, you know, he plays such good music, because Orpheus was like poet, songwriter, singer, so like he was this incredible artist, and Hades was so moved by him that he's like, alright, you can get your wife back on one condition. Until you cross the gates of Hades, until you're out of here, don't turn back and look at her. Don't do that, or else the deal's off. And so he makes it past the gate, and he looks back to see if he's with her, but she hadn't made it past the gate, and so that she's just driven back all the way back into the underworld, and poor Orpheus doesn't get his wife back. I thought that was meta, but also foreshadowy, because that kind of happened in this movie. Also, side notes, I love the shot of like all these gifts you got, Zeus says. And then it shows this big whole thing of gifts that are gold plated and everything. So that's kind of like Donald Trump Jr.'s birthday or something, you know. So then you see Hades, and Hades is a show stealer. Every time you see him on screen, he's just hilarious in this role. James Wood kills it as Hades with all these jokes, and then the attitude he brings in this movie is phenomenal. Hades just adds another dimension to this movie that without it wouldn't be the same movie. Hades is the lord of the underworld because Zeus put him there, so he's really resentful. And then they introduce Pain and Panic, who are so freaking funny in this movie, especially right off the bat. The physical humor is great by them. We are worms, worthless worms. They turn into actual worms. After you see Hades being eroded by Charon or Chiron, you put 2 coins on your eyes when you pass away. For a skeleton, he can really row, like he just going at it like constantly. So then we're introduced to the Fates. They're cutting people's strings of life, and some chick goes into the little sewer, and boom, she's dead because they chopped her string. So then Hades soups them up, and he gets the fortune told, and it basically tells you the whole plot of the movie there, where, okay, you're gonna become powerful, you're gonna be the one, but if Hercules is alive, you're screwed. So Hades is like, well, time to get rid of Hercules. And he charges Pain and Panic to go and give it to baby little Hercules, feed him a little bottle of poison, and then get rid of him. The farmers come and save him. The muses come again and give us this sing-song exposition. It was raised by them. And this part where it shows like this vase of like Hercules lifting up the house and grabbing his like ball that went under the house. And I'm just wondering, how did that ball get in under the house? That's impressive. Then you see teenage Hercules come in, and he's an outcast. He's different. Hercules is misunderstood. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. Everyone has a good childhood, or, you know, not everyone has figured things out yet. Kind of related to that too, because I was like more of a bookworm kind of kid, a nerdy kind of kid. So, and I was into like robotics and stuff, so I could totally relate. So then you get the awesome song, I Can Go the Distance. It's really cheesy, but I freaking love the cheese. Like, load that up with some nachos, you know, load that thing up with some nachos, you know, put that on my burger with some chili cheese, also that too. Oh my god, the song is cheesy but great. I love it. It's on my Spotify. So then you meet Phil. Love him. What Phil wants and is someone that can go the distance. Just like Hercules says, I'll go the distance. He wants someone that can go the distance. It's like a match made in heaven. And also on another note, Pegasus is trying to get into Phil's house, but he can't. And you see his big butt. He's really thick. So then we get this awesome Disney montage with Phil. Shows Hercules going from this wiry teenager going to a full-grown Hercules adult. He's like, oh yeah. So then you finally get to meet my favorite character of the entire movie, Meg. Then our hero Hercules runs into Meg, talking with Meg. Like, he instantly like falls in love with her. Like, he's like, wow, you know. So this interaction between Hercules and Meg, it really kind of shows off, you know, their dynamic. How like she's and kind of also cynical, you know, plays hard to get. He comes on with his big innocent farm boy routine, but I can see through that in a Penapelesian minute. So going back to earlier when I was talking about the intro, about how all the fallen heroes and, you know, the ones that didn't quite measure up were blue, and then, you know, you got Hercules orange. So on the color wheel, if you look at it, you know, according to my calculation, no, but looking at it, orange and blue are like complete opposite sides. In between those two, right smack dab in the middle, guess what? You've got purple. Guess whose dress is purple? Meg. So it kind of shows that balance, that she's like not good and she's not evil. She's like a mix of the two. So then our heroes make it into New York. No, Thebes. By the way, one of the Thebians looks like the colonel guy or the governor from Pocahontas. Then we have another song with the muses. Zero to hero, do-do-do-do, zero to hero, that's alright. Yeah, we have a song, and it basically shows his ascent into like fame and superstardom. You know, taking out the Minotaur, this like the charging bull. He also takes out Scar from Lion King. Not really, but like you can see he's wearing her pelt or his pelt. Just get this own brand of Nikes. I mean, I think they're called Air Hercs. But Hercules would be kind of cool too. And these Nikes, I mean, Air Hercs are so big. I think even Payne's wearing some of them. Panic is drinking like Herculade or something like that, like his own name brand drink. So I was like, whoa, like he's big, you know. And he's humble. Like, he's still humble, you know. He didn't lose touch with who he was, so people really like that. He's like, you know, he's the nicest guy. So kind of a lesson, you know, if you make it big, you know, at least remain some of that humility, you know, like be cool. So, I mean, that was also a pretty good lesson, so maybe some people learn from that. So then he goes and talks to his dad, but he's like, you've done well, my son, you're doing great, but you still gotta prove that you're a hero. And he's like, what? So, like, I've done all this, you know, he did all his 12 labors, you know, condensed into the montage. He did all this, but he's still not a hero in the eyes of the gods. So he's pretty frustrated about that. So, you know, he's contemplating his fame with Phil, and he's, you know, all this mob of girls like chases him, and then he escapes, and guess who's behind the door? Meg. And so Meg goes and seduces him because Hades wants to find out what's his weakness. And so he sends Meg out because Meg, unbeknownst to Hercules, gave her life up to save her ex. And then once she saved his life, he ditched her for another chick. So like she's really cynical about it. So, you know, that explains her arc. Like, she was hurt. She's not just a bad person, or she's not just acting like this as you know, badly because of no reason. She got hurt, and so she's kind of untrustworthy. She doesn't trust men too much. You know, he thinks they're all the same, and she's kind of cynical about that because she was betrayed. So it's very understandable. You know, like she got hurt, and so she's like, oh, you know, whatever. So she just wants her freedom, but she starts to fall in love with Hercules. You know, like the movie like kind of slowly shows that she's falling in love And it culminates in this point where they have this date where Hercules is like, oh my god, you've shown me parts of myself I didn't even know, you know, because like she's the bad girl and he's the good guy, you know, so like they kind of opposites attract, and boom, chemistry. And then this kind of sums it up how Meg views the world, where Hercules is all like, I want to be like everybody else, and then she's like, what, you want to be petty and dishonest? And like, they're not all like that. Like, yes they are, showing, you know, kind of her worldview, where she's like, damn, like she's really cynical, that no one is perfect. And this kind of shows that no one's perfect, you know, even everyone has their flaws, everyone, you know, is imperfect, nobody's perfect, everyone has, you know, imperfections, but that's what makes them, you know, that's what makes everyone unique, their imperfections, you know, all those like pieces of the jigsaw puzzle, different cuts sort of thing, makes different people, and well, that's kind of beautiful, you know. Then finally, like, she turns around or something, and like this statue of Cupid like pokes her in the butt, and then boom, like that's when you know she's in love. Phil comes in, breaks them up before, you know, they kiss, and so then that's when you get the song, my favorite song, and you guessed it, I Won't Say I'm in Love. And it's sung by the voice actress of Meg, Susan Egan, who is also like a professional singer, so she kills it. And it has, you know, the muses with their more like soul kind of music, and then it has Meg coming in, you know, like a barroom dancer, and it's freaking fantastic. I love the song, everything about it, you know, how they like the lyrics, everything, the animation, it's fantastic. Call Me a Sap. I love songs. I love them. You know, they're great. Phil's still in the bushes, you know, spying on Meg. Creepy little Phil. And he finds out the arrangement between Hades and Meg. So then Phil, alert with the news, he tries to tell Hercules, but Hercules is like, no, I don't believe you, dude. I don't believe you. Like, she's my girl. Like, and so then he's all like, all right, dude, whatever. I'm telling you, she's this and that. And then he pimp slaps Phil to like the other side of the arena. So then Phil's like, well, alright, I tried, but he quits on Hercules because Hercules quit on him. You know, he doesn't believe him, so he's like, alright, dude, whatever, I can't get to you. You're too wrapped up in this chick. That's a sign of a good bro, you know, who can tell you, you know, a good friend really, who can tell you, you know, this is what's happening, dude, and this is what's wrong, you know, and you gotta stick to your guns and tell him, you know, I'm saying this because I think this is the best thing for you. Even if he refused to believe it, alright, dude, I'm gonna have to walk away because I gotta stand with my convictions that I know this isn't good for you, dude. I want a friend that can be straight up with you. So I thought, you know, like, Phil, that's a good guy, you know, he's looking out for his boy. Hades sees his chance, so he swoops in with Meg tied up, and he's like, alright, I got this girl, Meg, you gotta do this deal with me, 24 hours, no powers, and then you get your girl. And so then Hades, after they shake hands, he's like, alright, I gotcha. She was working for me. And then Hercules is like, no way, dude. And then he's like totally shocked, and he's heartbroken, he's devastated. So the deal works out for Hades, and then the planets align just like the prophecy, and boom, the sewer is open and the Titans come out, and they're all marching. Mount Olympus is over there. And then they're like, Zeus, and turn it around. Like, it's like, alright, time to fight. Zeus, the alarm is sound, Hermes, you know, finally doing his job, was like, oh, the Titans are coming. So then Zeus is chucking thunderbolts and everything. But the Titans this time, apparently they've been training, you know, in that sewer, they've been getting stronger. And then the tornado guy just literally goes and like swoops half the army, just like boom, like that. I was like, yeah, they're done for, you know. Hades sends Cyclops to attack Hercules, you know, by himself at Thebes, you know, take him out. So then, like, you know, everything's peachy. So then he's tearing down Thebes and everything, and then Hercules is all like, well, I guess, you know, I don't have powers, but I gotta do something, you know. So he goes, and then Meg's like, you'll go and you'll die if you go out there. And he's like, there's worse fates than death. So he's like, oh man, like, alright. Because that's what a hero does. That's the definition of courage. The ability to do something that frightens one. And then Meg's like, hey Phil, we need you, he's gonna die. And then Phil, like a great friend, he's like, oh, he needs me, you know, like, alright, you know, bygones be bygones, he's my boy. I'm with you, Hercules. So then they go and they fly to Hercules. And then it all comes full circle because he's like, I need someone to go the distance, will you? Because Hercules was getting his butt kicked, you know, he's like all beaten up, you know, he's all bloodied and like bruised. And then Hercules is all like, yeah, I'll go the distance. Which is also kind of a smart lesson where it's like, even though he's not strong anymore, or he doesn't have his super strength anymore, he uses his head too, which it's just a good lesson, you know, that it's not brain over brawn, and it's not brawn over brains, it's brain and brawn. So if you can be strong and smart, that's a lethal combination. That's an excellent combination. And so those together, he combined them, and it worked for him because he took down the Cyclops. And so then it's like, oh, all right. In the process of taking down the Cyclops, there's pillars falling down, and Meg, now she's heroic. What she does is, to save the life of the man she loves, she pushes him out of the way, and then this column falls on her. It goes, poof. That breaks the deal because Hades said not one hair will be hurt on her. So she's hurt, deal's broken, Hercules gets back his strength, moves the column. So then Hercules has his super strength again, and then he's like, alright, time to kick butt. And so he goes up to Mount Olympus, the gods see him, they're like, it's Hercules, yeah! And then he basically wraps up the Titans, he gets the tornado guy, sucks them all in, and then just lassos them out of town like Pecco's Bill. Did I say that already? So he goes to Hades and negotiates a deal. You go swim for her, and then if you can get her, then she's alive, but you're going to go in her place. And then Hades is like, that's a good deal. Let's do it. And Hades is going down, and he's like, oh, and then so Hercules goes and swims for her, and then reaches for her and grabs her. But then he's like dying, you know, he's like getting old. No. So then Hercules dives into the pool, and he's like swimming, but he gets like Benjamin buttoned, or the opposite of that. And he starts to get like really old and everything. And so then now it's the fates are stringing up his string. It's time to chop that up. But when they go to chop it, it turns gold, like this, like a lightsaber almost, but a gold lightsaber. And they try to chop it up, and it's not chopping it. Cuts up their scissors, messes up their scissors, and they're like, what? And then behold, it's Hercules, and now he's a god. Which is crazy, because even after saving all the Titans, or the people from the Titans, even after taking the Cyclops, even after all of his stuff, so then he punches Hades and throws him into the toilet, and he gets swirled down with all the deaths. Presumably he's dead, but I mean, he's the god of death, so you never know. So he's finally invited into Olympus. Hercules is finally a god. He's finally worthy, because Zeus is like, a hero is not measured by the size of his strength. It's measured by the strength of his heart. So showing that conviction, showing that courage, you know, showing that tenacity, that sacrifice that he's willing to do for Meg, all those showed that he had heart. He's like, I love you, Mom, I love you, Dad, but I know where I belong, and it's with her. Shows you that home is really where the heart is, you know. It doesn't matter where you came from, you know, it doesn't matter where you've been, it doesn't matter what's happened. Wherever your heart truly lies with the people that you truly love, that's going to be home to you. Regardless of who it may be or where it may be, that's where home is for you. So that's kind of a big lesson, and it's a really good lesson, because it's true. Wherever you feel loved, wherever you feel wanted, wherever you feel, you know, safe, that's like a good place to call home, you know. And so, and there it is. He's finally a hero. That's this hero of Hercules. He's finally worthy, and he had a happy ending. Alright, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and thumbs up. What's your favorite Greek myth? What's your favorite Disney movie? You know, just talk to me about what you like about this movie, or what you liked about, you know, Greek myths, or just anything about it. I love to chat about this because I love this kind of stuff, you know, so it was great. Peace and love, baby.